Hey, what is up you heathens? My name is Grief Drums and today we're going to be taking a look at E3 and what this means for Rainbow Six Siege. Okay, so I'm well aware that E3 technically kicks off on Tuesday, June 14th, but we all know that it starts a couple of days before with other companies and other developers coming in and telling us what they are going to be releasing over the coming years or months. And I wanted to take a look at Rainbow Six. Now, a lot of you know I play Rainbow Six all the time. Nearly every night I'm on this game. It's so good. And when it first came out, we obviously got a good view of the roadmap. So what was going to be coming up in the coming months and what to expect over the first year of this game. Now, the roadmap itself laid out a plan for new operators, new maps. However, at the very bottom here, it says new game modes. So this has prompted me to think, well, at E3 this year, are Rainbow Six going to be dropping a new game mode? Is this something that could happen? If it is, what game mode is it going to be? For the longest time, I actually had bomb turned off on my matchmaking preferences just because it really frustrated me. But now I've started getting into more competitive play and more ranked play and I'm hunting for diamond. I've turned it back on. And I tell you what, it's like getting a new game mode in itself. But the opportunity and the thought that we could get a new game mode is awesome. I'm so excited for this. Now, I'll be the first to admit that I have absolutely no hard evidence on this at all. This is all just speculation and something that I think may happen. This probably even won't, but it's something I'm excited for and it's something I'm really hoping does happen. This is the perfect platform, the perfect opportunity if they were to drop a new game mode for them to showcase it. So Ubisoft have got their own game conference at 1 PM Pacific time or 4 PM Eastern. They're obviously going to be dropping a lot of news on games like Ghost Recon Wildlands, South Park, The Fractured But Whole, I can't even say that without smirking. Obviously Watch Dogs and For Honor are both going to be in there, so they've got a lot of big titles coming. They're not going to be announcing anything for Assassin's Creed. This is the first time in almost a decade that Ubisoft won't have a new Assassin's Creed to headline its presentation. So this does leave a lot of room for games that it's already got. So whilst this is all speculation, let's just assume that they do announce a new game mode. I mean, it's on the roadmap. It might not be at E3 that it's announced, but let's just say that they do say something. What kind of game mode could it be? Game modes like Domination that we see in the Call of Duty franchise wouldn't really work. Because of the fact you only get one life in Rainbow Six, Domination is just not a game mode that would feasibly transition into a game like this. We already have Capture the Flag style game modes and King of the Hill style in Secure Area and Hostage. So I'm really torn as to what kind of game mode there could be. At present, if you go to the options menu, you can turn all the HUD displays off and turn it into a hardcore mode for yourself. But there's no real reason to do this. You're just putting yourself at a disadvantage because everyone else has got a HUD display. What if they were to release a hardcore mode? This would force everyone to be at the same disadvantage, make things a lot more interesting and slightly more realistic. This is something I personally would really like to see. I mean, this game is realistic as it is, and I would love to be able to turn all the HUD display off so you have to communicate more as a team. If you didn't know how many opposing players were still left because it wasn't at the top of the screen, you would have to talk about who you've taken out. This would force more communication, and this is something that is huge in this game. Further to that, drones. Drones, when you take them out at the beginning of the map, my team always call out how many we've taken out so we know. If you had to do this for players as well, it would make it so much more interesting. Not knowing how many are left on the opposing team, and it's just you left in the secure area room, oh god, that would be horrendous. You wouldn't know if there's 2 or 3. But god, would that be interesting. You wouldn't have to do too much with the damage side of things because that's already fairly high. A couple of hits and you're dead, and if you get a headshot, you're obviously out of the game unless you're unlucky like me and somehow manage to injure people from headshotting them. Other than this, the only game mode that I can really think that they would implement will be something like a team deathmatch, which, although sounds fairly boring, could be quite interesting because you'd have people hiding all over the map. Instead of having one objective room that you know you're going to have to attack, you're going to have to drone a lot more to find them because the team could decide to hunker down in a room that isn't normally an objective room. So you could find them in all sorts of weird and wonderful places. Initially, when I thought of Team Deathmatch, I thought that's just plain, it's boring, it's simple. But the reality of it is it's not. It could be quite interesting and it could be a really clever spin on a game that is already phenomenal. Now, there are other ideas in the form of things like high value target, where one character or one operator in the game is selected and your team has to either defend them or if you're the attacking team, you have to obviously kill them. To me, this doesn't really sound like something that would work. If you were playing as a character with barely any armor like Bandit and you were selected as the high value target, you're already at a bit of a disadvantage there. If you were to play as Tachanka, you obviously have a little bit more armor. You then chuck even more armor on top of that. You stand a little bit more of a chance, but it's not something I can really see that is in keeping with the game. It just means that it would automatically be a 5-on-4 because the high value target will be off hiding somewhere, hunkered down in a room. It's not something that I can really see working in the game, purely because of the balance reasons. Balance would be very, very difficult to obtain for a game mode like this. And with people already complaining about how certain characters are overpowered, to have this in a game mode, it's just going to be an absolute nightmare. One of my final ideas is, what about the possibility of combining game modes? Like secure area and hostage on the same map in 2 separate rooms, similar to the way bomb is. This would force the defenders to split their assets, but you would also want to do it like bomb, where you open up the rooms into one giant room and try and defend all of that. I think this would be a very, very tough game mode to balance and get right, but I think it's possible depending on which rooms you choose to set up in. It also calls for some interesting moments, where if they push into one room and start securing, you need to get there, but then you're leaving the hostage able to be just grabbed and jumped out of a window. If they do this, I'd like to see the flares and the escape zone for the attackers moved a lot further away. I'm not 100% sure that something like this would even work, but hey, I'm just brainstorming here. Whatever game mode they do decide to implement, I just hope that it is in keeping with the current gameplay style and stays true to the game that we currently have, because at the moment it's incredible. And if they were to implement a new game mode that was to break that or destroy it, although you'll be able to turn it off in the matchmaking preferences, it would be a real shame and a real letdown, because so far for me, everything that has come in has worked really well. I've enjoyed the new operators and what they bring to the game. I've enjoyed the new maps and what they bring. You know, at first I may dislike a map, but after a couple of days or a couple of weeks of getting to know it, I end up loving the map. Like, you know, Yacht, I really enjoy playing Yacht now, and Border is just insanely cool. I love that map so much. So I just hope that it does stay true to the game and it does work. You know, it's not one of these things that's just sort of tagged on and falls by the wayside. I'd love to hear what your ideas are. What game modes would you like to see in Rainbow Six Siege? What game modes do you see working? What game modes do you think that, you know, just definitely wouldn't work? Do you think we'll see a new game mode that's a slight variation of what we currently have? Or do you think it'll be something completely different that we haven't seen at all? Make sure to let me know. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to beat the hell out of that like button. If you don't already, make sure to subscribe, as there is a lot more Rainbow Six video content on the way. And until next time, guys, stay reckless and relentless.